Where the band's at?
Guys, welcome back to the LIS podcast. So here we're going with part 2 of my chat with Morgan, where we're just talking about his journey through physio and his outlook in sport and life. So without further ado, we're going to roll it back. Big love, people. Like and subscribe.
Really good to know your players.
So let's talk about Wandsworth Demons.
Wandsworth Demons.
Aussie Rules Football.
Bleed red and blue.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, mainly me, particularly me.
Yeah.
What is Aussie Rules Football? The only thing I know is that it's not too different from Gaelic, and they do apparently they do like a big Aussie Rules Gaelic football game every so often. Apparently.
No idea on that.
Okay,
one.
then okay, forget I said that.
Yes.
18 aside though, I know that.
18 asides, much bigger pitch. Hence the 18 aside. The main difference between Aussie rules and Gaelic is the tackling. I believe you don't tackle.
Okay, so it's a full contact sport as well.
Yeah, correct. Tackles are a little bit different though to rugby. So sometimes, most of the time, rugby is just about tactically smashing someone, or trying to win the ball back, ruck, whatever. Aussie rules, it's more of the best way that I describe it to people is more of a hot potato scenario.
Yeah.
So it's more of again, I've never played it, it's only from just what I've spoken to people about, what I've seen. It's more of like a wrap, if I'm tackling you, like wrap, drag down, almost like league style.
Okay.
Kind of thing, right? But
does it matter if it's higher or lower?
It's shoulder to knee.
Okay.
So no tap tackles or anything like that.
Okay.
You basically what's trying to happen is I'm trying to keep the ball in. When I'm tackling you, you're trying to dispose of it.
Okay.
If you fail to dispose of it, then it basically goes to almost like a basketball tip-off scenario. Two guys on the field. They battle to either gain or retain possession.
Like literally like.
Yeah, so like umpire stands in the middle, and then literally you and I in a tip-off scenario kind of thing.
And scoring, what is it? Are you scoring into a goal? Are you putting it down?
4 white posts, so you've got to kick it through.
Okay.
Can be out of hand or it can be out as it's bouncing. You can't handball it through or anything.
But it's got to be a kick.
It's got to be a kick. So you've got 4 white posts, the 2 in the middle. You get it if you slot it through there at 6 points.
Yeah.
If you slot it through either 2 of the outside ones, it's 1 point.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So how did you get into? How did that come across Aussie Rules Football?
One of the Wasps rugby players actually. He you probably know him. He gave rugby up.
Yeah.
So he gave rugby up and then just said that he wants to give Aussie Rules a go. And then he like a few weeks into it, he literally sent me a thing on Instagram from the Demons that they'd posted saying, again, umbrella term, Physio's wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just had a chat with like a phone call, I suppose, interview with the main girl. And then did a season of that. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely fantastic. It was bloody good summer then as well. So you can't not love working outside in the middle of London in 28 degrees, if not more.
Yeah, man. Rugby's always pissing down with rain and freezing cold. Like most of the
Do you know what the good thing is about working in doing so many seasons in rugby? I just don't care about the weather anymore. Like it could be raining outside, I'm like, cool. And I know that is purely because of rugby. I just don't care about the weather.
Made you weatherproof.
Yeah. Just because like you stood there for 80 minutes, if not more, in whatever conditions may be for the day.
Yeah.
You just pack appropriately, and that's it. I've been wetter than I've ever been before on a rugby pitch.
Yeah. Pause.
I was waiting for you to say something like that. But like it just doesn't. It just doesn't faze me anymore, which is pretty good. But literally to the season of that, absolutely loved it. And then the head physio stepped down, and then they needed someone to take it up, so I stepped up. And
okay, so you're head of everything. You're in charge of everything.
Director of physio is my role.
Umbrella term,
right? I'd love for it to be head of medical or something like that, because there's a little bit more umbrella, but a little bit less.
So what was
Physio.
what's different with being the head of Umbrella Physio in Wandsworth Demons compared to working at Wasps and other places that you've worked at?
So smaller sport.
Yeah.
A lot more involvement from the players. So like you still have rugby, you have like a playing committee, but this time, but in Aussie Rules, a lot of the committee board, etc., president, which would be our chairman, treasurer, etc., a lot of the time they're players. So you're like at the same time you're managing players, but you're also managing your relationships with like the bigger picture. The president plays, the treasurer now plays, the vice president plays. You get the gist, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's not like rugby where it's a little bit more, I suppose, formal is the way.
Yeah.
Where you've got like the big wigs up top that decide everything, and they're not players or they're ex-players. Whereas actually now you've got basically purely volunteer-led, and everybody has a part to play in those positions. So yeah, that's probably the big one. Not that it impacts anything. It's just interesting to see. Obviously,
it's a new perspective,
right? A few other different things. Just managing a team is probably a different one. Whereas most of the time, it was either just me at Wasps, or me and one other person, which is I go my team, you go my team. I go the first team, you go the second team. Yeah, a lot more of it is like rota planning is probably the best way to put it. Yeah, just sometimes we can there's a lot less because it's a smaller sport. There's a lot less clubs, but then also those clubs tend to be bigger. So we've got 5 teams in our club, whereas
5 teams, 18 aside.
Yeah, right. So you've got
that's like at least nearly 100 players, isn't it?
Yes, you got 18 on pitch, but also you got 6 subs. So that's a squad of 24. 24 times 5. Somebody do the math. That's your minimum.
120.
There you go. So you've got your minimum amount of players out playing, right? But then also that's not how big our club is. Our club's like close to 300 members.
Gosh.
So yeah.
Probably loads of people within the club you haven't met. I don't know.
Yeah, mate. Honestly. So that's a big thing to play with. But yeah, just the managing people. So like it's quite. We need a big team, and it's a different setup as well to managing people in a rugby club. Like normally, I'm going with the first team, you're going with the second team, you're over there, you're with the third team. Like you kind of have your teams, whereas we just do everyone.
Yeah.
No, so like we do more of like an open shift, mid kind of close shift, but then also I take that on because I'm aware people have just done a minimum 18 game season of rugby, and not everybody's such a rugby Norse that I am that they want to, or contact sports Norse that they want to be then working their whole entire summer. So like what I then try and do is, okay, cool, you're going to work this weekend. What we'll do is we'll give you next weekend off, as opposed to rugby. It is kind of you need to be there most of the
year
time.
round. The stability.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Sometimes we have multiple teams in different locations. So again, just a bit like rugby, but like what we could have is we could have like 3 teams in Hackney. And then we could have 2 teams in Wimbledon or something like that. Biggest thing, people don't have cars because we're based in Clapham. So so logistically, a lot more needs to be put into it rather than, coach, can we put this in your car, or like, can you take the tackle pads and the physio kit, umbrella time? Whereas it's more like we have our operations group chat, and it's kind of like, okay, cool. Can we have these 3 bags for this place on the weekend? Who's taking them, all that sort of stuff. So there's a few differences, but it's brilliant sport. It's brilliant sport. I challenge anybody that says it's not a proper sport to go and play a game. A lot more demanding than rugby, I would say.
Giant pitch. Pitch side, any differences? I mean, obviously, if someone's injured on this side of the pitch and you're here, you
challenges my fitness, man. It really challenges my fitness. There's been so many times where I ran onto the pitch and think, oh yeah, I'm off now, but actually, like, I'm in the centre square. So basically, you got a few like key land markings. You've got like the big oval boundary line. You've got like a 50, which is a little bit like a basketball kind of D.
Yeah.
And then you've got like a centre square with like a little circle in between. But yeah, there's been times where I've got to like, I've been on this edge, I've got to this edge of the centre square. I'm like, oh,
You're
right.
sprinting like a good 50 meters to get to the player.
Right. If not more. And then I'm like, oh, right, okay, there's still more pitch to go. I'm not even off the pitch yet.
You think you want to get off that pitch so the game can continue?
Yeah. Well, that's another thing as well. Like, if you're talking like technicalities, once the stopwatch starts, they won't stop it.
Okay.
Whereas rugby, you've got lineouts, you've got scrums, you've got penalties, where like the clock stops.
Yeah.
So I would argue that you probably play more accurately to the stopwatch in rugby than you do in Aussie rules, but the game flows a lot more in Aussie rules. There's not so many lineups, there's not so many scrums, there's not so many just all those kind of global stoppages. It's a bit more free flowing. So
I think with rugby union, like you can have one game which is constant stops, and then you can have one game that's completely free flowing. Depends on the referee and depends on the sides.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about Aussie rules, but I slipped my mind.
Shoot away, man. Peak Aussie rules season. Now's the best time to ask me about it.
So 1 point for the corners.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you imagine 4 posts, the way I describe it to people is I number them 1 to 4. So if you get it through, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you get it through 1 and 2, that's 1 point. If you get it through 3 and 4, that's 1 point. If you get it through the middle, 2 and 3, that's 6 points. So that's the best way that I can visualize it.
So I mean, although it's a small sport in terms of like the numbers, I mean, I'm sure in Australia it's massive.
Oh, it's like their thing.
Yeah, but
so just like league.
Yeah, I think it's probably Aussie Rules Football is bigger than Rugby Union in Australia.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Don't know about league, but definitely.
I think even league is bigger in Australia than union.
Yeah, no, I know league and Aussie Rules Football are probably the top 2, unless an Australian sports enthusiast can correct us. Like,
I'd probably argue cricket's got more attention than rugby union. And
cricket is big as well, and I always forget about cricket.
Yeah, whereas it's interesting when you come over here, it's football, rugby, and then obviously you've got a few other.
The thing is, cricket is a big deal here, but it's a summer sport.
Yeah, right.
But the thing with cricket as well, it's quite a leisurely sport. I'm going my experience of cricket. Shepherd's Bush Cricket Club, literally around the corner from me. I used to work with a football team.
Oh yeah.
Whatever, and they used, there's like 16, 17. They used the cricket ground in the off season. So I think from September to April.
Yeah. Okay.
And obviously the cricket pitch has to be immaculate.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to go into too much cricket because Aussie Rules Football.
Yeah.
But like, I remember one time I was so long story short, we can't train on the cricket pitch because the pitch needs to be immaculate.
Yeah, right, okay.
But obviously our equipment, there's a shed, and like it's by the schoolboard. The back of the schoolboard is a shed.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
We'd have to walk around just on the outside of the pitch to get in. But like I see the players that are not playing, that are on the bench, whether they're fielders or whatever. Sitting in the clubhouse, but bear in mind these guys are playing. They're part of the game. Sitting in the clubhouse having their drinks and chilling.
Yeah, they got like a bit of a lunch in between, don't they?
Yeah, so
it's a life, man. It's a life.
I don't know, like leisurely sport. I mean, I'm sure I'll get a cricket guy here one day.
It's a whole day thing, is what I've been told. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2020, which is the quicker one, but yeah. Okay, cricket is another time though.
Next
Aussie Rules Football. Yeah, but reason cricket in Australia.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Yeah, man.
Whereas here, obviously, not as big because less people play it. But
it's entirely amateur in this country.
But then it's quite. It must be a massive, like even though it's a small community, at the same time it's a big intimate community because
big,
like
big and small, it's one of those that like everybody knows.
You got like 5. Let's say you got 5, 6 teams in London. I'm sure you've got to travel a lot between games. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of there's 1 or 2 teams in the league that are like, fuck me, that's far away.
There's one team based in Reading.
Yeah, see what I mean? Reading. Like,
but do you know what? Actually, in 3 seasons of Aussie Rules, we've never actually travelled to their ground, so they've always come this way.
Nice.
This way, meaning London. But Yeah, like yeah, travel's not too bad actually. I'd argue you probably travel more to a rugby game.
Yeah. I mean, in league, for example,
yeah, mate, don't get started
like
too much.
in league, like
Yeah,
the SEO boys, they're traveling to Bristol.
yeah. So we don't have to travel
Yeah.
nearly that far. Yeah, the furthest we have to travel was North London, but like so the thing about Aussie rules, you're there for the day. You don't because it's quite often that you do have a few teams in one location. It's a bit more community based in terms of like, let's say the women's second team are playing first, and then the men's third team play, and then the men's second team. Like you kind of get it. So like those players that are played in the first and second games, then most of the time, unless they've got plans after, let's say like 60% of players will actually stay there, have a beer, have whatever they want to, have some food. They'll stay and watch the games the rest of the day. Like it's a big social thing. Whereas like rugby game, you go, you do your thing. I don't know what it's if different in league. You have your beers, you have your food, man of the match, tick of the day. See you later, boys. Cool. See you on the next one, kind of thing. Like you're actually there for probably 4 or 5 hours. When actually, when you got big game days with quite a few teams, that you could be there for something not quite double that, but
I guess it depends on the day, really.
Yeah.
Sometimes some weekends, like speaking from rugby experience, you got 2 games on at the same time.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Let's say 2 away games, 2 games on, meet back at the club, maybe get some food depending.
Yeah.
And then some people stay, some people go. Most people go.
Yeah.
And then get on with their Saturday. But then double home game.
Oh, nothing
big
better.
deal.
Mate. Nothing better.
A lot of the times, I think in Warriors, for example, there's a double home game. One team plays first.
Yeah.
And the second team will play first.
Yeah, I did that quite a few times at Wasps this season actually, where staggered kickoffs, which worked really, really well. Because then the whoever plays last gets quite a big crowd.
Yeah. No,
yeah, it's good, man. That's that's one thing. If I had to take one thing from Aussie Rules to rugby is all fixtures on the same day, excluding youth and minis.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But like the women's and the men's.
Yeah, it makes the club like have so much more of a community feel.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then sometimes what you'll get as well is, let's say the men's second team have just finished a game, and then women's first team are up next. What they'll do is they'll almost do like a guard of honour to them running out to the pitch. It's a great thing to see.
So there's a lot more unity within the club.
Yeah, but that only stems from them training the same days, playing the same days. Whereas, as far as I know, Wasps women, they train Wednesday or something like that.
Yeah, I think men train Tuesday, Thursday, women train the day in between.
Yeah, again,
I think they have another session, but it's not on the same day.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few challenges to that pitch.
Availability.
Yeah, right. But then also the rest of the women's league play on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So we can't then be the only one as So it's
there's a lot to it. I think in rugby clubs in general, they do try and build that one club mentality.
Yeah, referee availability as well is a big one.
Yeah. So you think so obviously in rugby in Wasps, Warriors, I'm going by 2 places I've been around.
Yeah.
But it's not the first team or the second team. It's you're representing that place.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what what they want to do at those rugby clubs. But in
represent the badge.
Yes, but in Aussie Rules Football, they do that better.
Oh yeah, I suppose so.
Not do it better, but in terms of like the community feel, the guard of honor, and
yeah. Again, just like I said, just because we all have to play the same day,
it
just works so well. But I think that's always been it from the start. So like I think the first women's fixture, 2016, I think over here.
Well, the first Aussie Rules,
I think so. Yeah.
Well, amateur or just
yeah. So like the men's, like our clubs.
How long has Aussie Rules Football been a thing in the UK, roughly?
Our club's one of the oldest clubs. I think we're about 34 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was about in the early 90s. That our club was established, if not 1990. But yeah, I think first women's team rolled out on I think it's 2015, 2016.
So not even a decade.
Right. So
even more.
And that's for the whole league as well. So you've still got
so an even more youthful sport.
Yeah. But I think that was obviously set up with the premise that they would then play on Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's been their thing from the get-go.
Yeah, okay, so it's kind of easier to, whereas rugby compared to Aussie rules football is ancient in comparison.
Yeah. Gotta get
Like
some years on
there
it.
is you kind of got it's a bit harder to
100%.
implement things a certain way,
Yeah,
whereas
yeah.
they're kind of freshly shaping things.
Yeah.
What about worldwide and around out so obviously Australia,
Yeah.
UK.
Yeah. So you got you obviously got the professional league in Australia, but then also like from what I understand, their Australian rules set up in terms of league structure is like similar to ours in terms of like how established the rugby chain is here.
Like pyramid.
Yeah, so it's exactly
Top, second, and whatever
like
feeds into it.
Yeah. There's some slight differences, but it's like it's established, very established over there. I mean, arguably it's just their thing. But yeah, like there's pockets. Like, I mean, to be fair, it's quite widely spread throughout Europe. We went to. We were fortunate enough to go to the Champions League in April, and we were you're playing teams from Ireland. You got that Gaelic crossover. They tend to be really, really good. We're playing teams from one team's from Lyon, one team from Paris. You got teams from I think Berlin.
Wow.
Some from like the Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, that kind of region. So like it's a growing game. Although again quite interesting. So the England League, the London League, is the only league outside Australia that play for 18-a-side.
Oh.
So basically everyone else is rugby sevens, effectively. So it's nines, but it's sevens numbers. So like there's a team up in Manchester, or a few teams up in Manchester. They only play nines.
9-a-side Aussie rules, so smaller pitch and things.
Yeah, smaller pitch. Again, it's more. It's similar to sevens, faster paced games.
Yeah.
Or obviously not smaller pitches, but yeah, you get the gist.
What? 9-a-side on a big 18-a-side pitch?
No, sorry, smaller pitches. But imagine that.
Okay, I always found sevens weird. Not just in terms of it's half the players, but you're playing on the same size pitch.
I know, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
rugby for sprinters, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, mate, like it's really, really growing. You got spots in Canada, you got some in the USA, you got so we're going out to I say we. We're going out to true. So Team GB are going out to Toronto for the World Cup in August. And so we're going to face France. We're going to face.
How many teams are in that World Cup?
6, I think.
6. Is it like a group set? Is it like a pool group, or is it like a knockout?
I'm not sure. It's a 12-day tournament, so I would assume it's played like a league. The way I've envisioned it. Envisaged.
Good.
I'll look it up later. But the way I've seen it play out in my head, I might be completely wrong. Is it like it's kind of like a league? It's like if you win 5, lose 1, or like something similar to that, then you're first, and then first plays second in the finals. Like
okay,
that's the way that but it might be pools.
It could be completely different.
Yeah, but you've got.
Is this the first time you've done anything internationally with Aussie Rules Football?
No.
Okay. You've worked with like GB?
Oh, sorry, on the GB side, yes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you went to, was it Paris? You said.
Yeah. So, we had a preseason cup with the Demons last year, in Paris. And that was again,
Champions League was where here.
Champions League was this year, but it was in Lyon.
Okay, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
France.
Yeah. So basically, just kind of a bit like regular football, but the top team in the top league. So if you're men's second team, men's third team, unfortunately you can't do it.
Yeah.
But men's first team, if you win your league effectively and win the finals, then you basically get invited to the Champions League next year. So effectively for the London season, it ended up being like a little bit of a pre-season cup.
Yeah.
Thing. And then we were lucky enough to become European champions this year. First time we've ever won it.
Wow.
First time I don't think we've been at a tournament in about 5 years. So come out with guns blazing and won it. But yeah, it's pretty cool as well because like with it segues nicely into the GB stuff. So it's more strict the higher up in terms of the divisions you go over here, but I think you can only have up to 18 on pitch. You can only have 11 Australian at one time. So you can't just like stack a team with Aussies over here.
Okay, so yeah, because what's the eligibility criteria like in terms of representing a country? Do you just have to live here?
I think it's where you've spent. There's a particular age,
Yeah.
and it's like where you spent majority of your time from that age. I think maybe it's 12.
Mm.
So like you grew up in Oz, but then you then went to high school,
Yeah.
or like there's some sort of specification. But
Yeah.
like there's people that I know that are Australian, but they count as a GB or Row rest of world. I think they count as a GB player because they spent majority of their life here, or vice versa.
Like adult life or whatever.
It's something to do with like your teenage years.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, like
I'm sure those are rules that will probably change in the future as well.
Yeah, also put it this way. So even though I was born in New Zealand, I've spent the majority of my life here, so I'd be classed as a GB player, not a rest of world player.
Okay.
So like it really grows the game, so which is good with the GB rest of world thing. So you've got France. Going, our friend that introduced me to.
Yeah.
Like he plays for France now. Team GB are going out across the World Cup. You've got USA, you've got Canada. I'm pretty sure Colombia will be there as well.
Colombia.
I know, right? It's such a rogue nation to have.
Yeah.
But clearly, a few Australians go there.
Wow. Yeah.
It'd be the first time going abroad with Team GB, which is pretty cool.
Is there any kind of prep that you've had to do, like from a physio perspective?
Yeah, ongoing. But like a lot of it is, sure, a few other people that have kind of been in traveling abroad set up on my role of things. A lot of it right now is paperwork, if that makes sense. So like getting players emergency contacts and getting players medical conditions and all that sort of stuff. So like currently it's all about paperwork.
Are you gonna have the chance to? Because obviously, it's not that Wandsworth. You're working with the same players that you know more or less.
Somewhat, yeah, but it's more.
But like I'm sure, like there's only a certain amount are picked from.
Yeah, so I think we have four in the men's.
4 in the men's.
But this is all through the country. This
is
like,
no.
Yeah, so this is like some players that play for Cardiff Panthers and Wales kind of thing. So
okay.
But I think we've got 4 in the squad. Got a few others on the emergency list. So injury dependent. But some of
in terms of like meeting the players and things like that, is that something that's gonna happen before? Is it gonna happen when you arrive at the tournament?
We've got a warm-up game next weekend, actually.
Okay, so there's a lot of preparation going into it. Who's your warm-up game against?
So the Swans women, they are playing Ireland, I think, on Saturday.
Okay, that'll be a tough game because there's with the Gaelic football experience probably.
And then I think the men Bulldogs. I think they are playing. I think they're playing France.
Okay. Where our friend will probably play.
Correct. Yeah, and then also it's good because they make a weekend out of it. I then think Ireland play France on the Sunday, and then I think the GB squad have a training session, so I'll be at both.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really it's really cool setup, man. It's a growing sport, and still very amateur. Like a lot of the players still have to pay to play in that sense. Like they have to pay for their kit and all that sort of stuff. Compared to like if you're in professional football, it's just like here have like five England t-shirts, right? Like it's really cool. It's nice to be on the on like I suppose the upward curve of a growing sport. It's really cool.
And in 10 years from now, we'll probably see quite substantial steps.
Yeah, man.
Forward.
Well,
and the more time passes.
Yeah, it's only like I've only been brought in to set up quite recently. Like I did 1 or 2 games for them last summer, and then that was it really. And then I'm fortunate enough to be selected to or be asked as well to go.
Yeah. So how did obviously they picked the best players or who coaches perceive to be the best players to play in the tournament. How does it work with physio? Like it's not like you're out
Same selection process, mate.
Oh, so they just
No, I joke. I'm fucking with you. No, I think.
I believed you.
Thanks, man. No, honestly, just right place, right time. I think just there was an opening, and yeah, there was an opening, and then one of the players who's quite good at recruiting, one of the GB players, one of our players as well, Demons players, who's quite good at recruiting players, was just like, mate, come along, I'll get you in touch, and then thankfully the team manager of GB AFL she's like the chairman of like the AFL London League.
Okay.
So I think she like heard a few bits about me and reputation that I'd kind of set and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, we just had a chat, and then just honestly just right place, right time. But then also a bit of reputation goes into that as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Word of mouth, no.
Yeah, I suppose so. But yeah, a lot of it was just who you know.
Yeah.
Not
Interesting.
what you know. Yeah.
It's how you network yourself. You gotta use your tools right to put yourself where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly, man. And yeah, there's been a few people along the way that have like really put me in quite a good spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, endlessly thankful to them.
Okay. So before we wrap up, like we got so into our different conversations, I forgot to ask you about Middlesex and things like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't wanna just
I can give you a whistle stop tour if you want.
in terms of Middlesex County, your under 17s, under 18s, under 8, different. Like we've had conversations off camera about this.
Yeah.
Just a quick one. How did you get into Middlesex? So we're back into rugby, by the way.
Again, just reputation.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, I keep saying reputation. Probably word of mouth actually. And just just kind of like are you free?
Yeah.
And then so that kind of started as a stand-in job.
Yeah.
Phenomenal setup. It's great. You're working with some of the best rugby players in the county. So really fantastic. But just again, right place, right time, saying yes, basically. But so it just started as a stand-in. Like, actually, are you free this Saturday? Are you free or what Sunday?
Yeah.
Are you free to cover a Middlesex training session this Friday? And then slowly, I kind of, I suppose, grew into basically doing that year, doing the whole under 17s program, which basically takes place in May. And then I was asked back to the 18s, and then slowly just kind of grew into being the person that does the 17s and the 18s, because it's the same group of players.
Yeah.
Plus or minus 5 or 10.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice to keep that kind of.
I mean, county's different. They play like a couple games a year and stuff. 3 games a year. 17s and 18s.
So it'll be 6. Yeah.
Okay, so 17s and 18s play 3 games each. So 6 games for you to. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
it happens different times of the year.
Yeah.
18s is across winter, 7 May.
And obviously, counties is different because counties like in between. It's just below the academy. Is it that's below the academy?
So if they're in academy, they'll arguably be on a different pathway.
Yeah.
Quite often, what happens is, unfortunately, some of those players in the academy will be cut from now. Obviously, now is June. Can't believe I had to check that. But yeah, obviously now is June. 17's program is all wrapped up. That happens in May, like I said. And unfortunately, between now and when we have the under 18 open trials, which will be like October, November, December kind of time. Unfortunately, some players will be cut from academy, but that is academy lifestyle. So then,
it's just part of the process.
Yeah, unfortunately, but it's a shit for those kids. But
academy players get cut because conversations we've had off camera.
So they could be cut, and then basically we can pick them up.
They get cut. Isn't there a thing below the academy, but above it? It's just academy then county.
Yeah, I think it's so. The way I mean, I don't have much to do with. I never really had much to do with the academy side. I don't know the intricacies of how it works. But the way I see it is like, if you're not in academy, you're going to be in county basically.
Okay.
But then from county, you can then either get back into the academy, because sometimes like they'll scout you or whatever. There's a few other pathways that you can make. So sometimes you might be an Irish Exile squad, Welsh Exile squad. Again, I don't really know where that sits in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of the next level up. But then from county, you can get into divisional. So In London South East, there are 8 counties. You got Middlesex, Sussex, Essex, you name it, right? And the best of those will be selected at under 18s level to then go in divisional. So London and South East will go up against North West, North East, etc. There used to be a pathway to England under 18s, so if you were good enough, you could then go all the way up. But unfortunately, now when you play for divisional, that's kind of capped.
Yeah. Okay.
But
interesting.
yeah, so
what do you think changed from that?
I think funding.
Okay.
I think again, I've only been in the program for 3 years now. Some of the coaches have been doing it for 6, 7, so they have a much better idea of where things were, where things are, where things are going to be.
Sounds interesting.
But yeah, you work some of the some of the kids are absolute guns. They are brilliant players.
I wanted to just touch on that county stuff just because I thought it was a unique perspective.
It's good.
Last question about the county stuff. Obviously, I'm sure we'll have another conversation another time in front of a camera where we can talk about all this kind of rugby community and the Aussie Rules Football community into more detail. But just on a physio related question, umbrella term, how different is it working with age group players compared to working with senior players? In terms of a lot of different things. I'm sure safeguarding is one, but I'm sure there's different things, but just main emphasis on.
I prefer working with senior players. Purely because of the time spent with them is a lot greater. You get, as I said before, you kind of get an 18 game minimum season. You're working with these players for X amount of months. The county sessions are kind of few and far between until you get to that final playing squad, and then you realistically you've got, excluding the 17s program, if we're looking forward to the 18s, you've got 3 training sessions, 3 games. So I prefer the men's. Men's league season, because of the time that you have. But then also with I feel like you can teach the younger ones, the 17s, 18s, a little bit more in terms of medical standards that they can expect. Because quite often there might be some of the kids that are kids. I say they're 16, 17, they're not kids anymore. Some of the guys are playing at school where they've got medical cover on site. They might have an ambulance for their games, etc. So they already know that. Then some other kids come from different backgrounds. Where kids again, some of the guys from different backgrounds. Where
state school versus private school.
Sometimes it does play into it. Some state schools are fortunate enough to have physio umbrella term on site. But yeah, you just end up being another member of the coaching team at the end of the day, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you might be if we're going to get into the ins and outs of it. So back, everyone apart from front row in the scrum need to have lifting blocks. So yeah, obviously.
This is in county. They need to have lifting blocks.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, because if a divisional assessor looks at you, you're a number 7, you can't jump. No, we're not interested. So little things like teaching under 18 how to do the lifting blocks kind of thing, and just seeing them grow as well.
So things that they can take and they can do their own lifting blocks and they go play somewhere else.
Yeah, so you can put your own kind of personal touch on it, or you have those kind of experiences. But then also it's such a crucial age as well.
Yeah, you're teaching them some fundamentals.
And even now, the under 17s, they've got the amount that they're going to grow between now and the under 18 program is phenomenal.
It's exciting to see that develop.
Also mental
and be a part of it.
Some of them will be the quietest guys in the squad, and then next thing you know, in the under 18s, how are you? How was your summer? How are you doing?
It's an interesting age. That's where that's where you're soaking things in a lot more in a way.
Exactly. And I think because I'm not a fair bit, because I'm a bit younger than the coaches as well. Not so much anymore when I first started. These guys were 18, I was 21. Yeah. So I didn't make my age known, but you can tell that I was a bit younger. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, man, it's hard to sum up, but it's just really cool to kind of work with them during such a crucial mental and physical development period.
Yeah.
Rugby wise, but also personality wise as well. Which is
Yeah.
really cool. Really cool. But you know, if you could get that exposure, the same as the men's, that's my favourite. But the relationships you can build with over 18s is, you know, it's a bit
Yeah.
different. You still have to retain a little bit of like the. That is very, very important, but you do. There's obviously something you can't say to them.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if I'm trying to explain an injury to 27-year-old bloke, like I can use whatever language and that I can.
Yeah.
You know, for him to understand it.
Yeah. You got to be a bit more.
Yeah. So there's still kind of a little bit you have to refrain on a few things with because DBS comes into play.
Yeah, of course.
For sure, as you know.
So, all right. Yeah, I just wanted to get an aspect of different things we could learn about you today, and
thanks,
you know,
mate.
from a personal perspective and a professional umbrella term physio perspective.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the name of this episode.
I was going to say, yeah. I was going for it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been really interesting. In terms of, so just to wrap it up, last few minutes, however long. Hopefully this episode's not too long, but if it is long, listen to it. It's been interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
What are your goals moving forward, and what are your plans moving forward, and things like that? What are your goals? Okay, no. What are your goals now? Because I asked you at the start what your goals are. What are your goals now?
Yeah, well, yeah. So just it's out now. We'll be joining a new rugby club. Few leagues higher. So yeah, it's to do first season in that. See.
So how many? So what's the step 8?
Yeah, 5.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so league above that is National 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, just honestly just evaluate how the season is, learn as much as I can.
Sure, there'll be a lot of new challenges and a lot of new protocols.
I'm excited for it. You know, see what the differences are. Grow myself as a person, practitioner. But then also just go to Toronto is a big goal. I mean, it's
that's a big.
I'm going. Pay for my flights and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, just continue with the GB stuff and just see whatever opportunities come my way. Never stop learning.
And what advice would you give to any young person that is considering working in the kind of medical kind of umbrella term? Physio or anything in between or anything relatable? Anything, just anything, yeah.
Just say yes. Yeah, just say yes. Like that. Try a role. You know, like if you try a few games, you know, try a season with the team and it's not for you, then there'll be other places. But yeah, just say yes. Build good reputation.
The more you're out there.
Yeah, exactly that. But never stop learning as well. Always good to reflect on the last game or whatever. Something that I, once we've done a whole weekend of games, come Monday, come Tuesday, I'll always be reflecting like in this situation, could I have dealt with it better? Could I have looked at this? Could I have looked at this? Which is actually like I've implemented now a few things into my own practice from that. So yeah, just say yes, reflect on yourself.
Yes, reflect and learn.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, it's been us. Thank you so much for coming on and talking and teaching.
Been good.
And big love, people. Like, subscribe, comment, follow on Spotify, follow on the socials. I'll put Morgan's socials tagged in the description or whatever if you want to keep following his journey. And yeah, it's been real. See you soon.
Where the band's at?